Hey, Shubham.
Hey, Patiman, how are you?
Good, good. I want to call to you. I was not able to do, man. I will call you, try to call you tomorrow or in the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
Let's catch up sometime.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. We'll just give it a few more minutes. I know the change in meeting time hopefully didn't confuse people, but we'll just give them another minute or two.
Yeah, sure, Kendall.
we'll just give it just another minute or two. I'm feeling people may have gotten confused, so I just sent a reminder in Slack. So just give it another minute.
Ended.
All right, well, in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and get started. We just have our normal updates today. So if there is anything else that people would like to discuss, we will have time at the end of the call. Because I don't see it's taking the full hour. So we'll go ahead and get started with Suresh for a 5G update.
Yes, Kendall, let me share screen. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, okay. Yogesh joined. Good. Yogesh, you want to give the development side update?
Sure, Suresh. So I think as far as the last meeting is concerned, we have added a couple of scenarios, mostly related to the negative scenarios where we have to handle rejections and other features. So we have highlighted this main PRs 9813, and there were some issues with respect to the PDU session establishment. So those got fixed as part of 997510.523. This is basically the DNN support, multiple PDU session support, various combinations of DNN. So all those scenarios are getting addressed as part of this fix. And of course, there were a couple of crashes as well, which got fixed. In the unit testing front, we have achieved 62% coverage in AMF. There are some work to be done in NGAP. We are around 52%. We have to improve it a bit to cross the 60% milestone. But I think all the basic procedures, registration, deregistration, PDU session, establishment, service request, all are now into the umbrella of unit testing. So all these unit testing related PRs are fixed, and we are close to 62%. The idea is to have it around 70%, which will have improved coverage for negative scenarios. Yeah, we'll try our best on that front. There was some refactoring we have done as part of, although it is mainly targeted for stateless feature, but the main target is the performance is improved when we move from hash table implementation to the maps, which is C++ based. So we have actually landed a couple of PRs where we have migrated from hash tables to maps. That is part of our PR 10072. So we can see that MC to UE mapping, the GNB to UE ID mapping, the GUI context mapping tables, all these tables have been moved to the map-based implementation.
Yeah, and
so
Yogesh, looks like in the month of November, we also have moved some additional tables from hash tables to maps through other PRs, right?
Yes, meaning that was just an high level, but yes, of course, there are a couple of PRs for moving it. this was the main PR, which was like an anchor point for other PRs. So now with this, our performance improvement is targeted, and when we move to the stateless feature, serializing and deserialization should be a bit easier. Now, from the design perspective, we are in the process of seeing how we can optimize the AMF data structures, particularly the UE context and the SMF context, because we see a potential lot of improvement if we streamline these data structures. So we have identified those pieces, and also we have moving towards the stateless. Yeah, we have done all the analysis, whereas what should be the trigger points, at what point it should be returned to the database, how it has to be invoked. So all this background work we have done for stateless. I think from the month of December, I think we will be moving some more data structures. We will be streamlining some more data structures, which will help us in this smooth transition. Yeah, and coming to the session D part, I think there was a critical PR which got landed, that is 10239. This was a critical PR because it helps in usage reporting, charging, meaning we will get the stats from the OVS table, and then session D is going to populate it towards the orchestrator or to the dashboard where the end user can see the usage and charging. So, all this testing with related to metrics, charging, monitoring, getting notified towards the orchestration is going to be covered with this PR. So yeah, that was, and of course, that is a first step towards migration towards 5G infrastructure. In future, we are going to see how we can, move to a more converged way of handling the things. Yeah, and coming to the SUPI concealment, sorry, the SUPI deconcealment or deconcealment support. We have landed all the PRs, both from the orchestrator perspective and the AGW perspective. We have listed the numbers here for quick reference. With this feature, what we are going to achieve is we are going to get a registration request where the MSIN will be concealed from the UE. And once it lands into the AMF, we will be able to deconceal it. It supports both profile A, profile B mechanism. The basic testing we have done with respect to the simulator, which is UE ransom. We have the test cases already present in TerraVM to support. So once this PR gets merged, I think it will be available for usage, and the TerraVM, we have a daily regression where TerraVM is going to cover it as part of the daily builds, verification on the daily builds. So here is a snapshot where this initial UE message, we can see that the MSIN is now coming as an encrypted message, where here at least we are using this profile A scheme, and from UE it is generating the 3 keys, the UE public key ciphertext, which is the actual MSIN, and then the MAC tag, which then will land into the AMF, which will then be deconcealed. Moving towards the IPv6 support, so IPv4 is already in place, and we are targeting for V6 and V4 V6 support at the PDU level. The pipeline D PR already got merged. The session D and the AMF PR are already raised. It is in the review state. So once this PR get merged, hopefully by this week or early next week, we will have the IPv6 support as well as part of the 5G infrastructure. Also, from the FEG relay or from the dynamic policy support perspective, where operators can bring in their own PCF, and via the N7 proxy, they can have a static as well as dynamic control on the policies onto the session. So few of the PRs started getting landed. We have put that number for quick reference. So with that, what will happen is now operator will have more control over to the to apply the policies onto the session D or to the existing PDU sessions. There are few PRs which are under review, and with that, what will happen is the complete flow right from PCF to FEG to session D will be opened up for the configuration.
Yogesh, just a quick question. I understand this through the FEG relay, but yeah, do we have the static policy support already today without connecting to the operators network? Because we are going after the FWA use case. In most of the use case, you won't have the operator, policy, right? So just want to clarify that. If you could answer.
Yeah, sure. It's a good point, Kadir. Thanks for bringing it up. So static policy is already supported as part of our basic PDU session. There are some benchmarkings for throughput we have to do as part of the static policy, which is underway. But the basic support is already in place. Basic static policy support for PDU session is already in place.
Thanks, Yogesh.
Yeah. So this was the second leg of development, where this shows that complete call flow from PCF towards FEG relay towards UE, and how the call flows are happening. Basically, I think PCF will trigger based on the information of the PDU sessions. It's going to trigger the provisioning of specific rules, maybe policy related or Ember related. It is going to provide this information to session D, and this whole thing will be propagated via a N7 proxy, which will sit in FEG, and via FEG relay, and via policy auth, this information is going to relate towards session D. Session D is then going to contact AMF for getting for advertising this changes towards UE. Once everything gets approved by UE, then the rule will be installed in the pipeline D, and the associated response will be shared towards the PCF. Yeah, so it was just a diagram to show what we are doing as part of network initiated session modification. Yeah, so yeah, it's a work in progress. Few of the PRs are already landed, especially the FEG side. Soon we are going to commit the AMF and the SMF, the session D side of the PRs. With that, this flow will be, yeah, we can test this flow end to end. Coming to the QS part, I think, as I mentioned, the static policies are already in place. The dynamic policy as part of PCF, we are going to develop as part of this current PCF feature. And in Q4, I think the APN based support is already, to some extent it's already present. It's just some more testing and benchmarking we have to do to see how things are. And in first quarter of 22, we are going to provide this slice specific support that is also in the roadmap. right now, we are going to have a stub-based testing for this N7 interface. So we are developing these stub CLIs, but we are going to soon integrate with other third-party simulators where we can, test it with real devices. So REST, all the session modification, propagation of QoS information, putting these changes into the GTP header, all of these things will be covered as part of the PCF and the static policy test coverage. There are some known issues which we have listed here. So once these are done, I think static policy will be fully applicable. It just some of the values are not working as expected. So we are working on that. For QFI, there is a small change which is needed in the OVS, the Linux side of it. So that is also, that changes are also in progress. So with that, because OVS inherently does not, the kernel module of OVS inherently does not supports the programming of QFI. So we have done that. And we are in the process of verifying the flows end to end.
Yeah, thanks, Yogesh. So
I
that's
think,
the
yeah,
engineering
that's all.
side of updates on the 5G FWA. Parthiban, can you give updates on the test side of 5G FWA?
Yeah, thank you, Suresh. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are. So we are working with the TIP community for the OCN badging, TIP OCN badging actually. In this process, we are creating the test plan and test cases which are actually based on the TIP FWA requirement specification. What we are trying to do is we are trying to map the TIP FWA requirements to the 3GPP, and we are coming up with the test cases which will not be specific to Magma, which will be even including the non-Magma. The whole idea here is to make sure set up a community lab here. You should be able to badge whatever the 5G core which are coming up into the TIP community for the badging process. So we are also working on with the POC to get a testy agent which will be integrated into the central CA of the current Magma process right now. And in the future, this is going to be a CI which will have a variability to take any 5G core and have a set of test cases which are developed as per the TIP FWA requirement, and it can test it and it can give out the result, the test result. And all the Magma specific will get uploaded into the Magma dashboard. The non-Magma related test reports will be stay within the community lab itself. That's the process we are working towards it. We are in the process of creating the POC for this test agent of the CI pipelines. I'll keep posting here in this community as we make a progress here on this.
Yeah, just Parthiban, I just want to add this to clarify. So the idea here is to, the TIP has the FWA requirement document. One of the key idea is how the Magma features, whatever that we have implemented, maps to the TIP requirement, and where what is missing and how we can build a roadmap against what is missing and validate with the customer. I think that's the key point I would like to share here. The reason of this particular exercise, getting involved with TIP, taking the inputs from there to ensure that we evolve Magma code base that can be compliant to the TIP requirement, which apparently provided by multiple operators and every other customers around the globe. So we may not have to go and validate one by one with the customer, but if you are able to create a roadmap and map what we have done and what we need to do future against the FWA TIP requirement document, it will serve our purpose of evolving Magma towards fully compliant FWA converged core. So that's the thought process of doing this exercise primarily. And the secondary thought process is getting ourselves, Magma community, a little bit involved more with TIP will help us to kind of understand how the third-party converged core, which will come to the TIP community, supports and does not support, and why they support it for what use case, and is that applicable for our edge-based A gateway that we are building, and so on, right? So there's a lot of learnings that we can do. That's also a second reason. Just wanted to kind of clarify these two things. why we are doing this activity as such. Over to you, Parthiban.
Yeah, thank you, Kader. Yeah, that clarifies the purpose of this activity. Yeah, it's really helpful. Thank you, Kader. Yeah, Suresh, we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so here I'm covering about the 5G standalone Magma core, what we are developing, the test status. For the SIT, we have testing with the latest master branch build in the Bisel environment right now with the Huawei Mate 30 UE, and we are making some progress here. We are able to resolve few of the PDU session related stuffs, and there are still more some of the hurdles here. We want to make a successful call, so we are into that process. Hope we will be reaching that, and I can update here in the community that it is working. The entire Magma core is working with Bisels in a physical environment, so we are trying to get that done. On the ITL regression front,
one second, Parthiban. The yellow line, is it related to certain procedures, or what is this yellow line?
Yeah, maybe, sorry, I would have added a legend here. The yellow line is actually the pass percentage, and the thing on the other side is the fail percentage actually. So
Okay.
we have a 73% pass percentage average on this week, and there was a dip here on the Thanksgiving week that there was a hitch up on the regression test bed, and that has caused the little bit of lowdown on the pass percentage actually. That was the reason on the last Thanksgiving week. But in stability wise, we are right now in the scale of 73%, 70 and above percentage pass percentage. And this includes some of the ongoing feature developments along with the basic MVP code base for the 5G Magma core. We are adding even the features which are under the development into this regression, such as like the QAS and the multi-sessions, which Yogesh has presented already, the status of it. So those code are under review, and some of the things are also getting added into the regression suite right away. So you could see that it is a little bit varying up and downs, but we hoping to get this stabilized in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Parthiban.
Yeah. Thank you, Suresh. On the scale test front, our target is to reach the 600 UE attached detached benchmark, and we are trying to progress in that benchmark, trying to get that benchmark done. And we are hitting some stability issue right now, but the goal is to reach that one. And we have some tickets raised, and the development team is looking into those things. And hopefully in the coming week, we should be able to do it. I've placed here one of the maps we have taken out for the memory mapping. And when we are trying to do this current 10 UE per second attach rate for the 200 registrations, we have taken out some of the memory mapping. It seems to be stable. There are other issues in terms of valid, invalid mix and stuffs like that. And we are trying to sort out those kind of issues within the Magma core right away. Yeah.
Thanks, Parthiban. I just wanted to also add to what you said. I mean, these are the three activities that is ongoing in parallel. And one of the key activity that we want to ensure happens is working with at least one G-Node B in the SIT environment. It's very critical for the community members to take the distro and start doing the trail, right? So that's why we have these three things going in parallel. And the highest priority is going to be put on SIT. And also the scale test, based on some of the validations, what we have seen is close to, if you are able to go to market right away, if you are able to get to close to 200 UEs and 4 or 5 attaches per second with 400 Mbps throughput, we should be able to go to market. And the primary focus is going to be to achieve that. Maybe this is something that we need to update, Parthiban, in our next session. So the idea I just wanted to share here is that it's not finished to start, it's actually start to start. All these three activities are ongoing in parallel to see how much we can progress to have some kind of a solid distro that works with the real equipment that our community can start trying it out towards the end of this month and even early next year when they come back from the holidays. Just want to add that. Over to you, Parthiban.
Yeah, thank you, Kader. I think that summarizes the test updates and from the testing side. And yeah, I have covered on some of the CI activities done here to build some CI pipelines as part of the tip activity as well. Yeah, any questions, anybody? If not, pass on to Suresh.
Okay, looks like no questions. Back to you, Kendall.
Great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much,
thank-
Suresh. Okay, moving on to a DevOps update. I don't know if there's any team members from the DevOps team on the call. I don't see Tariq or Tim. There may not be an update. The only thing I know from them is that they're moving their DevOps meeting to monthly. So it'll be the second Wednesday of every month. That calendar invite has been updated, so it should be reflected on your calendars if you are connected to the Magma public calendar. So then I guess we'll move on to Echo for a release update.
Yeah, thanks, Kendall. So just a quick one. The next Magma release is going to be 1.7. There's a Tiger team that's been set up to help drive this forward. The planned release date is going to be sometime in Q1 2021, and there will be some new features launched in this release as well. The person who will be mostly driving this is going to be Jared. So I had a chat with him earlier this morning. So I'm thinking during the next call, he will come in and then share with the team what the plans are in terms of the process and then expectations, so that everyone is up to date on what to expect when 1.7 ships next year. Right, so that's the update on releases. If there are no questions, then back to you, Kendall.
I think Kendall is not in the call. Phil?
Oh,
Yeah. Do we have any other additional updates from other teams?
I think that's the update as per the notes as well, the meeting agenda as well, Kader. If any member wants to talk anything on this forum, then we should welcome.
Sure. Yeah, so we'll open the floor for questions and then we can close the call if there is no question.
okay. I don't see any hands up, so I guess there are no questions then.
Sure, let's close the call. Thanks, Echo, and thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Echo. Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
thank you, guys. Thank you all. Bye.